Okay, I'll say hello first. Hi, Karen. It's so wonderful to see you as always. I am nervous.
Katie, it is wonderful to see you. As I said before we hit record, I feel like this is a very special facts of life. Do you remember that in 80s sitcoms when they had a show about something like very serious? They
Oh, I
would
don't
do
know.
like almost like a content warning at the beginning.
Oh,
It was
that
like,
might be a good idea actually with this one.
yes, like they would say like I mean, they would have the announcer come on and say something about adult subject matter, and then like on a very special facts of life, on a very special family ties, like whatever.
Yes, I do remember that. You're totally right. And then I'm like, oh, strapping in.
Yes, exactly. Because you're not gonna not watch Family, like I almost said Family Feud. You are gonna not watch Family Feud. Facts of life.
Yes, facts of life, all of those things. Like that's so true. And then it's like, then you talk about something. You're right. It's always a very serious topic. And then you come away with it, like come away from it like that was different. Like that was different. It was, and it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about today.
I feel that way about today too. I feel like this is very different. I'm very nervous.
Oh my gosh, we got this. Listeners, if you are hearing this episode, it means it will confirm what we have all known, which is that Katie is A, the bravest fucking person on earth, and B, is sharing something really personal, extremely personal, in the same way that we always do, both for herself and for all of us. So, yeah, all right, what content warning would we put on this one?
Thanks, Karen, for saying those nice things. I think the content warning is if you are not in a place right now to hear some real emotion, like real uh I mean, I guess I could say the word trauma, but I'm not sure if that really is what that is. I don't know what the word is, but like if you're not ready to hear some like pretty serious shit, like this is about women, about women's bodies, about anything that has to do with people who are born female, then this isn't the episode for you.
And I think I don't want to give too much away. If you are in a space where conversations about choices about family, choices about parenthood, choices about your reproductive choices, if you are not in a place to hear a conversation, a very frank conversation about that, I would also say you should probably tap out.
100%. Very good point. Yes. Yes. So all of that said, so yes, to mirror what you said, Karen, if this is like listeners, to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes look, we're recording this a long time before you're listening to it. And the reason for that, you will understand soon. But really, it's to give me time to figure out if I want to be honest about this stuff and if I want it to come out. So if you're listening, if you are hearing this, then you know that I'm okay talking about it, basically. And that's that's just that. So yeah, so today and the context is important. So today as we're recording is Friday, March 3rd, and we after we record this episode, Karen and I will not be talking on the pod. Well, we might be talking, hopefully we will, but not recording talking for almost a month, which I mean, that's a long time. So, and the reason for that is because on March 7th, which is in a few days, I am going up to Portland and getting a hysterectomy. And so that is what I want to talk about. And well, I don't know if that's what I want to talk about. I don't know how to start, but yeah, that's what it is. I'm getting a hysterectomy.
So, do you want to say why? I guess maybe that's a good way in. Good
Yeah,
in quotes, way in.
totally. So the reason it's multifaceted. So the surgery has been something that's been on my mind for a long time, and by a long time I mean years. And the surgery is wrapped up in the fact that when I started my period when I was 14 up until now, I'm 41. I have had, and not every month, but every year-ish or so, periods that have been so horrible, pain-wise, that I have had I've fallen a lot, had multiple concussions, I convulse, I have gone to the you know, hospital, I've had every test, neurologist, D tests, like, CT scans, MRIs, all of the things. Um, but that's not actually that is the reason technically of why I'm having a hysterectomy, but there's actually like more to it than that. So like just off the top, the physical aspect of like not wanting to ever go through that again is the reason. Um, but I think there's so much more to it than that, Karen. Like I feel like this is not a surgery. Unfortunately, this is not a surgery like an elbow, surgery or some sort of like shoulder surgery. And I'm not diminishing those types of surgeries in any way whatsoever. Um, what I'm trying to point out is the society doesn't give a shit if you get a shoulder surgery. Society gives a shit if you take out your uterus. And society gives a shit basically of whatever a woman does with their reproductive organs. Period.
Yes. I mean, exactly like you said, whatever we decide to do with them, the stripping away of our choice to do whatever we want with them, obviously, is just a theme in the country right now. But it's not, I think it's society, obviously. And then it's people who live in society, who some of whom are our friends and family, have a lot of opinions about these things.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the thing for me is it's really hard to articulate this. Like I have been thinking about this episode since we started talking about wanting to do it, which is more than a month ago now. And I have all these worries, like just like, oh God, I'm not going to articulate this properly, and I'm not going to say the right thing, and I'm not going to and that's honest, just being honest. And at the same time, fuck it. Like I'm just going to say whatever I can as well as I can. So, this surgery is very symbolic for me in that I am reclaiming a lot of who I actually am, like as a person, in like a very super literal way, which is a person who does not want children. And that is a choice that I think I actually made in my body and in my mind a very long time ago, and that I did not allow myself to accept until recently. And by recently, I literally mean like months ago, like very recently. And the reason that I didn't allow myself to accept it was because and this is really hard to say, but I didn't think my life had value if I didn't have a child. So that's really, really hard. That's a very hard thing to say. And it's very easy. And I know my parents are listening to be like, of course it did. Yes, it did. No, this is my actual truth. Like, I am, I know intellectually that my life has value. I know all these things. I read all the self help books. I listen to the same podcasts as everyone else. And yet, that is actually the messaging that I have internalized and turned against myself. Yeah.
Deep breath. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, you are the bravest fucking person ever. And I mean, an example of it, quick story. I have a friend who lost a very dear coworker, a young woman who died way too early. And I
Oh.
forget of what, maybe of cancer. And my friend obviously was very distraught at losing this person and how young she was. And they were similar ages. And one of the things that people kept saying to her was, well, did she have kids? Well, thank God she didn't have, well, at least she didn't have kids. As if her life, this young woman's life, was worth less or it was somehow less tragic that she died because she didn't have children.
Yes.
And I get what people are thinking, like they're thinking about these imaginary children being left without a mother, but the message that it sends is your value is wrapped up in whether or not you have reproduced.
Correct. Thank you for saying that, because that is the perfect illustration of what I'm trying to say. Like, it is so insidious, this messaging, that women don't have value, or that I specifically am. Obviously, this entire episode is about my personal experience. So women who are listening or female identifying, if you don't, agree with these things, that's totally okay. These are my experiences. But I think for me, it has been not just reproducing, but caretaking. And by caretaking, it's like, of course, you're going to be a selfless person. Of course, you're going to be someone who is going to take care of others. Of course, you're going to be and put yourself last. Obviously, of course, you're going to be humble. Of course, all of these things. And this is not just about my family of origin. This is about society at large. This is about the friends that I've been around. This is about the comments that I've had. I'm not even, it's not one person I'm upset at. It's not one, it's a system. Like, this is a system made to oppress women to not think of themselves first. I'm sick of it. I'm sick. I'm so fucking angry. I actually have a lot of anger. I do. And I, it's like there is just such a strong messaging about what a woman is going to do in her life to take care of others. And like, I have had these conversations about the fact that I don't want kids with a lot of people. And the reaction is like, oh, well, of course you could adopt. Of course you could get a surrogate. What if you meet a kid that you want to, like adopt in your later in life? No fucking shit, people. No shit. Like, as if I don't know those options. Also, my life is still worth something if I never do any of those things. Legit, never. If I live for myself and live the best life for me, is that less? Does that mean that that I am not serving as much? Like, yeah, just gotta take a breath.
Yes. Well, and it is this notion that think about all of the wonderful things that you bring into the world and that you do all the time and that you create all the time, and that somehow this little snotty creature somehow is more important than those things.
Yeah.
Like, you as a person, as a single person, like, contribute just enough. You are enough the way you are. You don't have to add to yourself with a child to somehow be of more value.
Yes, I totally agree. Yes, thank you for saying that. And like, I'm also not discounting people who are parents. I'm not. Like, I'm genuinely not. Like, I feel I think that I've really struggled in the past years, like, with the concept of like it being a binary thing of like, just because I don't want kids means I don't like kids. What? No, like that doesn't even make sense. And it's like or like that I'm against parenting, or I'm against parenthood, or I feel like I'm like anti being a parent. No. And there is that is truly not how I feel. And I feel not that from other people who are parents sometimes. Like, I'm trying, this is a million negatives here, but like, I feel like parents, there's so much messaging of like, how could you not have a kid? Like, especially, not especially, but I will say with my life circumstance of being someone who has financial means, in a loving relationship for a long time, with a house, all of those check marks, which that's not to say that people who don't have those check marks are not amazing parents, obviously. But like, there is this bewilderment that a lot of people have over like, like, why? Like, why would you not do that? And it's like, what if I just didn't want to? Isn't that enough? Like, isn't that enough? No, but blah, blah, blah. No. The no but is a projection of the other person's emotions exclusively and has actually nothing to do with me. And like, what if I was walking around telling every person who decided they wanted to be a parent to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why would you ever do that? Can you even imagine saying that to someone who decides to have kids? Like walking up to a pregnant woman and be like, oh wow, sucks to be you, bitch. Like, no, I would never say that. I wouldn't even think it. Like, I wouldn't even like, it's like, I really think there will always be, and I know the birth rates are, going down. And I don't have the statistics on this, but like there will always be more adults who want kids than don't. I get it. Like that's okay. Like and so I am an anomaly in that way. But like I just it's just a lot to like I think the thing is that I don't know how to like transition to the hysterectomy, but like when I decided I wanted a hysterectomy, my immediate response, Karen, was, and I'm sure I told you about it, was that I want to have a party. That was my immediate response. And this is months ago. And I told a lot of friends about this, including you. And I was like, this is going to be a big fucking party. And it's going to be like, people are going to fly in for it. I don't know where it's going to be. And I told a few people this, and they were all like, great. And of course, these are all like safe people for me to tell. And then I actually scheduled the hysterectomy. And I realized, like, oh, this is actually way more complicated than what this is, than me just like eliminating pain. Like, this is me grieving the fact that, like, I think I would have enjoyed motherhood. Like that there's that too. All of these things can be true. Like I might have enjoyed motherhood. I might have enjoyed raising a child. I might have enjoyed whatever that brought into my life. Like I am removing what one person told me makes me a woman, which, those are words that come out of people's mouths.
Great. Thanks. That's helpful.
So helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. It is the perfect example of, and I learned this expression from you, of multiple things being true at the same time and holding a million different conflicting emotions all at the same time, and that not just one thing is true. And I think there are people who want to distill emotion down to one thing. Oh, well, if you're grieving, then that means you shouldn't do it.
Of
No,
course.
right? No. You can grieve and be joyful at the same time.
Yes. You're right. You can. And I am. I really am. Like, I'm terrified. I'm so scared of this surgery. Like, just because of the actual fact that I'm going under anesthesia and like the normal shit that goes along with surgery. I'm going to be in pain for a while and like I'm going to be out of work for a while and I'm not going to be able to move for a while and all that stuff. Like, yes, I'm scared. I'm also like, I also am joyful. Like, thinking about, like, I have this, and we'll see if I feel good enough, but like several months after my surgery, I had planned, this is before I even scheduled the surgery, a rock climbing trip with like a bunch of women. It's like this tour and it's like so badass. And it's like, it includes camping and it includes the stuff that I really want to bring into my life. And I'm like, okay, like I know that the future is, or at least I hope that the future is pain free. And I hope that it's also more liberating in a way that like I am accepting myself. Because I think the journey for me, Karen, has been, like some people I talk to are like, I never wanted a kid. Like I have a lot of friends that don't have kids and they're like, I never wanted a kid. Like it was like never even, it was not even a thing. Like it was like it, and so it's like it's this angsty feeling that this like internalized misogyny isn't, that's actually not real in their lives. And that's, I mean, thank God, like good, that's amazing. For me, it wasn't that way. Like for me, I grew up in a very large extended family, a lot of love, and I didn't know, I couldn't hear my own voice underneath the din of societal expectations. And so the societal expectations became my voice. And it was like, but I actually thought that's what I wanted. And so Tyler and I, I went off birth control when I was in my mid 30s and I couldn't have a kid. Like I couldn't get pregnant. And we went through all the tests and we went through all the things and like, and I'm hearing Tanya's voice in my head right now because there's there's me and then there's Tanya, and it's like me being like, why the fuck are you telling everyone this? And then Tanya being like, you make people feel less alone by telling people this stuff. Like, right? Ugh.
Yes, I'm nodding vigorously. And yes. And I don't want to lose this thread of what you just said.
Oh
Hold
yeah.
on.
Well, here I actually was. I'll loop it and like
Okay, good.
land the plane as Ginger Buddha would say. And so like I I really felt like, okay, well, I'm going to have a bunch of kids. Like, that's actually how I felt. I was like, done. And then I moved to San Francisco and started to meet women. I was in my 20s. I would meet women in the 30s, 40s, 50s who didn't have kids and lived these really great lives. Like, they were very happy. And I was like, I didn't even know that was an option. And by saying I didn't know it was an option, like, I genuinely mean that. Like, I genuinely did not know that you could, like, be someone who just decided not to. like that's like I really, really didn't. And so it was like then I realized like, so over time I would chastise the shit out of myself because once I was in that period of time where Tyler and I were entertaining the possibility of a kid, I was like, in my mind, I was like, do I want this? Do I not want this? Like, there's a million fucking books out there of like, on the fence about a child, take this 5-part quiz. And then it's like, and then you can go on all these websites. There are podcasts about it. Like, and all of that is probably someone's truth, of course, but it wasn't mine. And it's like, my personality naturally is actually extremely decisive. Like, as a person, I'm a very decisive person. That's just my personality, period. And so I was always like in this misalignment of thinking like, is there something wrong with me? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me that I can't decide? And the truth is that I've only surfaced recently is that there isn't anything wrong with me. And I had made a choice. And if I wanted a kid, I would have had one. I would have gone through every fertility treatment possible. I would have gotten a surrogate. I would have adopted. I would have done all of it by now. I would have, period. And so that's the choice. Not making a choice was the choice. And it's like, now it's like been this decision where it's like, now I'm walking into like a very physical procedure where my choice is becoming literal. It's not just in my head. And it's like I will never carry a child even if my choice changes in 5 years, which I doubt. But if it does, I'll try to love myself through that too. But like it won't. And that's the thing. I'm trying to like yeah. I'm trying to like that's also the misogyny is like but Katie, see it like even comes through in this fucking facts of like life episode, Karen. God damn.
I mean, because that's the thing you hear over and over again. Oh, you'll change your mind. Oh, you don't. I'm sure that is also this like, we all have the ugly society voice in the back of our heads. And it's like, oh, well, you don't want to do that. What if you change your mind?
Yeah,
Like, what if I've made up my mind and get the fuck out of my head?
exactly. And also like every comment along the way. Like Tyler and I, when we were deciding to go to Asia when we were in our late 20s, we're going to go be gone for a year. Do you know how many people, just straight to our faces, they were like, it's so great you're doing this now because you're never going to be able to do it again. And it was just blatant. And there were a few people that were like, because of course you're going to have kids. Like, obviously, you're 27. Like, this is the perfect time. Like, and it's like, I think they were trying to be supportive. Like, I don't want to just like vilify every person who said something shitty to me and didn't mean it as a shitty thing. Like, obviously, people have like their own shit that they bring to conversations. And I'm not just trying to like go out and like shoot them down. And it affects me. Like, it's like, wait a minute, you know what you're saying with that? It's like, this is the moving walkway of life. It's like, I don't know if I've mentioned this on, on pods before, but like, there is this Chase commercial. Maybe I did a long time ago. There is this awful Chase commercial that was like pre-COVID, and I'll never forget it because it hit me in the fucking gut. And it was like, we're here for you, Chase. We're here for you through all of your phases of life. And then they show like a 20 something. And then that 20 something is like off having fun at a club. And then the 30 something is getting married, only heterosexual white couple, by the way. There's no one else, of course. And then they like, they're getting married. And then in their 30s, later in their 30s, they're like, and in the next phase, which of course is kids. And then in the next phase of like, what the like, that is so blatant. And it's like, yes, I get like maybe the Chase, like executives were like, well, this is the majority. No, dude. Like, there are other choices in life, and like, it's hard when it's not reflected either or like validated.
I mean, anywhere, really. And that every conversation about it is this fraught, like every every discussion of it is every misogynistic, every traditional marriage, all of it, the whole narrative is all of these things that we have spinning around in our heads without realizing really that they're in there.
Yes.
You used the word earlier of insidious, like you don't even realize that this script is in your head until, as you're talking about, you make this choice or you realize this choice has already been made for you, and you realize like this was the barrier, this was the wall, this was why it was so difficult to face this and to come to terms with it, was like all of this shit in my head.
Yes. Completely. Completely. And to take that even a step further, it's like I hesitated earlier when we were talking about the reasons for the hysterectomy, because it's like if there's someone listening or some woman out there that like knows she doesn't want kids and doesn't have pain and doesn't have like, but she just wants not to have a uterus, awesome. Go get a hysterectomy. Like it's like, it's like I don't think that just because I have this history of like crippling pain means that I'm the only person that should be a candidate, Like I don't think people need to constantly validate themselves to the larger society. Do what you want.
Well, and how difficult it is to find surgeons who will do it if you
Yeah,
aren't in crippling pain.
correct.
We did have essays, I will say, quick plug, a year ago in Rebellious, we had essays about what makes you rebellious, and somebody wrote about their decision, this same decision, and how difficult it was to find medical professionals who supported them. Oh, you're too young. It was like it was just this like the whole checklist of like barriers that people put up to control women's bodies and our reproductive choices.
It's honestly unbelievable.
Yeah.
I have a friend who she married a guy from Copenhagen, and they lived there right when they got married. And she was so lucky because they got married in their late 20s or something. And she knew she's one of the friends that I have that has known forever that she never wanted children. And so she, when she was there, got her tubes tied. And I'll never forget her telling me this. And when she told me this, we were like 31 or 32. And I was like, wait, huh? Like they approved that? And she's like, yeah, in Denmark, it's like not, like it's like if you want that, that's your right. And she's like, and so she as a like as to commemorate and celebrate that, she got this enormous pillow that was a uterus with like huge fallopian tubes that would hug you. And her name was Maxine, the pillow's name. And Maxine would have like a place in it at parties. And I remember going to a party with Tyler at this woman's house, and Tyler's like, "What?" Because it's not like a normal looking pillow. Like it's like a art piece basically. And he turns to our friend and he's like, "What is this?" And she's like, "That's Maxine the uterus pillow." And he's like, "Totally, yeah, yeah, totally." Like it's like obviously.
What else would it be? Thank you for
Right.
reminding me. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, she's just this amazing addition to our party. And so, but yes, there are so many ways that that society tries to control women's bodies, but it's also like just in conversation how to control women's bodies. Like this is just I have actually really thought about it. This is another part of this journey for me is like who I want to tell that I'm getting a hysterectomy. And like for anyone listening that's close with me and like, oh my God, I didn't hear about it. Like, no, it's not about you. It's like I have a lot going on, but it's like there are some people that it wasn't safe to tell. And because I don't want the comments. I literally want zero comments. Like other than how can I support you? How can I love you during this? The end.
Boom. Nothing else. There's nothing else to say. And if you have anything else to say it to yourself.
Yeah,
Just
totally.
keep it. Yeah. I mean, I will also, I feel like I should also be very explicit that we're using women's bodies as a shorthand and people assigned female at birth as a shorthand. We both are cis women.
Yes.
This is the way we're talking about it, while acknowledging that not only women can get pregnant, not only women give birth, not only women have this choice to make. And yes, we're using a shorthand and not being super expansive in our language, but we understand that like this is not just a woman's issue. It is not. Reproductive justice and reproductive issues and reproductive organs, they're not just a women's issue, but we are
No,
using shorthand and discussing it that way.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out, Karen, because that's so important. And it's like there's something to be said about like me experiencing this body as a cis woman and then other people who are not cis experiencing that. Like, no, the amount of society impact and like pressure or all of it, negativity, I cannot even imagine.
And the restrictions again on, I forget which godforsaken state it is just today. Oh, no, no. I think it's Marjorie fucking Taylor Greene wants to propose federal legislation that would outlaw gender affirming care for minors.
What?
Any gender affirming care. Uh-huh. The fuck is wrong with these people? It is the same move though. We want the right to do whatever the fuck we want, but your bodies are ours to control.
Yes. Yes. That's horrible.
It's really,
Is
it's
it
hard
get
to even, yeah.
is it getting traction? I mean,
I think I just saw a tweet today saying that she was intending to do it. It won't go anywhere, but just the fact that we are having that this is the conversation that we are having. These are the conversations we are having. Is I don't even have a strong enough word for what it is.
no, that's well said. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm like, oh God, I don't know what else to say about the hysterectomy or what else to say about the motherhood thing. Like, yeah, it's like, it's so interesting to distill it down to like 20 minutes with you, Karen, because this is like a lifetime of therapy.
Which is really the beauty of therapy is you realize like, oh, I have completely made sense of this in my head. This jumbled thing that was like just this giant knot for so long is like very clear.
Yeah, it's very clear. And it's like, it's, I think the other thing that I'm learning right now is like that I use intellectualizing and like making stories out of stuff as like a crutch to feeling in my body, like what's right. And it's like I sometimes can't actually put the words to how I feel. And like that's okay. And it's actually been music has been hugely helpful to me. And I know I said this before we even hit record, is like I'm listening to Beyonce's Renaissance album right now. And it's like the beat and the lyrics and all of it is just like it's really healing to me. And it feels I think I just want to listen to more of that versus like even making stories about all of the things that I'm bringing into the surgery and all. And it's like, yes, all of the things that I've said are real and true and valid. And like, I've been working with a somatic coach where I'm trying to like have more of a mind body connection and it's very helpful. And it's like, I've even thought of like weaning off of talk therapy because I'm like, my mind is too powerful and I live up here, like in my brain, not in my body. Like, how do I live in my body? I don't know. I'm learning that.
That's the question for all of us. Wow, that's a really powerful question. And I wonder how much this experience will help with that.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing that connects you to your body like pain, unfortunately.
So real. It's so real. It's so true. Like I had my pre-op appointment with my surgeon today and she was like, just so you know, you're going to be an 8 out of 10 on the pain scale for at least 72 hours. And I was like, and she's like, definitely take the narcotics. Like it's going to be hell. And I'm like, okay. And like my body doesn't react well to pain because I have this low blood pressure condition. So like I don't want to pass out. And I told her that and she's like, then you need to take more drugs. And I was like, okay. Like it was just like, but it's like, how do I think that's to your point, Karen. It's like my body's going to be communicating with me on blast. Like it's gonna
Yes.
be like that's it. And it's like I think it's like my entire job is going to be focused on what my body is saying and not what every Googleable article about like, is this normal? No, I can actually like, I can get the answers if I really turn inward.
And what you're saying reminds me like our bodies want to heal themselves.
Yes.
And you will have this time, fortunately. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, your employer that has given you the time. You get the time to focus on healing, to focus your energy on healing, to not think about negativity, to not think about any of those things, to feel your feelings, but also really to just focus on getting through this and having your body repair itself. Our bodies want to do that. They are
Yes.
set to do that. And we just stand in the way all the time.
Totally. Totally. Thank you for that reminder. That's actually really helpful because it's true. It's like our bodies are constantly wanting what's best for us. Yeah.
Well, and one of the many, many things I admire about you, Katie, is the ability to unplug. And I know you're not going to have this thing that so many of us have, like, well, I'm just going to be laying down. I'm just going to have my laptop next to me. There's no reason I can't still do work. Like, no, bitch, you were laid out for a reason. And the energy you were putting toward that is energy you are not letting your body have to heal
Yeah.
and to
Totally.
rest. Yeah.
Totally. Thank you for saying that. I mean, I feel I have told everyone who is even tangentially related to me on work, like of, client work, whatever. Yeah, not a chance. Like I will not be available. I've even thought about shutting down Instagram, but I'm like, should I? I don't know. Cause like I really enjoy like some like artist stuff and like I really get like, but then I'm like, I can also go down a rabbit hole for like 65 hours. And so what if I just went down like a rabbit hole of, just relaxing and like watching movies. And the one thing that I really want to do is watch a lot of comedies, but apparently laughing after a hysterectomy is like not advisable, which
Ugh.
sucks. And so it's like, I mean, that's actually kind of funny if you think about it. It's like you can't have
Yes.
joy. And so it's like I'm gonna try to watch some comedies this weekend, but like I think I might have to wait a couple weeks to like, I mean, I'm gonna laugh. Like no matter what, but it's
Yes.
like it might be painful. I'll just pop another narcotic, I guess, but I don't know.
1,000%.
Ugh.
Well, Vanessa at work was telling me, I think I'm going to get this name wrong. And Vanessa's going to be like, oh, you're such a boomer. I think it's Finstagram.
Oh, what's that?
It's a fake account that you have just to follow a very curated, like, so there's like the version of Katie that only follows artists.
Yes.
Like, I mean, the thing about social media, of course, is that you can't curate out like the heavy shit and people posting weird things. But if you have this like account that's like, this is just my puppies and kittens account.
Exactly. This is cat memes exclusively. That's
Yes,
it.
exactly. Right. And the algorithm will be like, oh, word, you want to see nothing but cat memes? We got you. Oh, here's some cat products you should also buy.
Right. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay scrolling through some kitty litter. Yeah, I mean, I love that. Like, or maybe not kitty litter, catnip. I don't know. I guess I clearly don't have cats because kitty litter is what they. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the point is that great idea on the Finstagram. That's a really, really good idea. I'm also taking all of the recommendations on Netflix, shows, movies,
Oh,
whatever, like that I don't know. Like my sister she's watching Yellowstone like this. Have you, I don't, it's Kevin Costner. I don't know.
no,
I don't know anything about it. Like she's like, it's the best show on television. And I was like, okay, I don't know anything. Yeah.
I don't know anything either. Literally, those are the two things I know. It's called Yellowstone and Kevin Costner's in it.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
The only thing I'm watching on streaming you can't watch, it's Abbott Elementary, which is hysterical. And I laugh all the time. And
Really?
yes. Oh my God. I love that show. I love
You
it.
should. I have read some stuff that if you put a pillow on your stomach and laugh and like that somehow like the pressure helps. I don't know. This is a lot of detail, but like maybe I'll wait until like week 3 and then I'll try to watch Abbott Elementary. That's great. Is that on Hulu? Or
I
you
think it is on Hulu. It's on
okay.
ABC. It's like actual, like on TV,
Oh,
on
it's like an
broadcast
actual.
television.
Oh.
Yes. And then it's also streaming because they're all doing that now.
Oh, nice. Okay. That's amazing. Well, thanks.
So you're welcome, of course. So, okay, I want to make sure we talked about everything you wanted to talk about and that there will be a companion episode to this. So the goal is to have this pre-surgery kind of exploration and then a post-surgery. Okay, how are you feeling now? And how are you feeling in your body? And how are you healing? And how are you feeling emotionally? All of those things. So just want to
Yes.
tee that up in case we decide to do these. Right, that's the idea that we'd have these two.
Yes, yes, I love that. Like, so the week that this hypothetically will come out, if you're listening, the week that it came out, we will then, you and I talk later that week about how I'm doing. And then, so next week will be the follow up. So it's kind of I mean, it's like a time warp, I guess, because,
Yes.
all of this stuff will have happened previous to what you're hearing. But yeah, I like the idea of having like it bookended. And so like basically two back-to-back facts of life episodes, which
Yes.
it is not lost on me the irony of 2 weeks ago before our spring break, how we talked about keeping our private lives private.
Right.
Not lost on me at all. And I think that it's okay to say what you want to say when you want to say it. And, there still are private things, obviously, that all of us have. So,
Absolutely. And this is incredibly personal to you, but insanely relatable and universal. And also doesn't really, I mean, it's a choice you've made and a choice you've made, of course, with your spouse, but like, it's also like we're not blabbing about other people in our lives. Like, this is an example of something that's both personal to you and very universal.
that's so true. That's so true. Thanks for creating a safe space for me to talk about it, Karen. Really appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, here we go. Like, I actually feel ready. I do. I think what I really want right now is to be driving to Portland. Like, I need like physical forward momentum, if that makes sense, to be
Yes.
like in the car driving there. Like, Tyler and I have a plan where I have a good friend who lives up there. And so we're going to have dinner with her at this Indian restaurant that I love. And like, and then, she's like a very safe person to be around for me. And then we're going to get ice cream. And then the next morning, that's that. And then we're going to stay in this really nice hotel. I decided to just like go for it. I was like, fuck it. If I'm going to be like laid up, and I told Tyler, I was like, there are so many great brunch places in Portland. Like the day after my surgery, we definitely need to get brunch. And he's like, why don't we
Right.
just see how that goes? And now after talking
Right.
to my surgeon, I think that's like a hard pass. And so maybe just room service, but at least it will be room service in a decent place. And I'm like, I think I'm just this is just like practice for me doing the right thing for myself. Like all these little decisions um are I'm feeling more powerful and empowered to make them for myself, and that's enough. And like you said, like you're enough, worthy, all of it. Like, yeah.
And modeling for all of us what that looks like
Yeah.
and what it looks like to listen to I know Glennon Doyle says this all the time, that like little tiny voice inside that we all just shush all the time because it's a scary truth that we don't want to face. And you have excavated it. And here it is. And you're living it like right now.
It's true. It is. And it's like, I think it's so hard. Like, I always listen to her saying that, like, that little tiny voice and the truth stuff. And I'm like, but what if you can't hear your truth? Like, definitely. And that's the thing. I genuinely, Karen, don't think I could hear my truth. Like, I don't think for all of those years that I was considering having a child, I couldn't hear what I really wanted. And like, that's not to say that if I had gotten pregnant, I would have a kid now and I would have, of course I would have loved the child, but it's like right now, like it's like, whoa, like this is like the truth of my experience at this exact moment. And frankly, the moments before this that I wasn't ready to look at. So, okay.
I am sending you all of the love, all of the healing. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate you so much for being on this journey with me. You have known all the things all the way through. So thank you. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of you for listening also. And yeah, we'll see you next week with another Facts of Life.